Hello viewers, it's a pleasant good evening, and this I welcome you to our local news bulletin file for the hour here on Star Television Network on Channel 21 with me, Adamasila. First, the headlines. Paramount Chief Musa Gumbuka Kalon II of Jawi Chiefdom, Kailaon District, and Honorable Sheka Musa has described a 3-day national symposium on the development of palm oil industry in the country as timely engagement that will address the problems between multinational corporations and local communities where these companies operate. And the Selling Water Company has handed over the toilet facilities to different councils in Kenema, Bo and McKinney for the use of pupils in different schools aimed at improving the hygiene and sanitation in the country and mitigating the effect of malaria and other waterborne diseases. And as the country prepares to hold its fourth general elections after the Civil War, Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board has met with the United Nations Development Programme and National Electoral Commission (NEC) on a 2-day capacity workshop in Freetown to discuss the Public Elections Act to ensure free, fair and peaceful elections. And in sport, the proposed solution and recommendations reached by FIFA Task Force in conjunction with all parties have given rise to mixed reactions amongst all persons, with some describing it as one being stage managed. Those were the headlines, so now for the news in detail. Paramount Chief Musa Gumbuka Kalon II of Jawi Chiefdom, Kailaon District, has described a 3-day national symposium on the development of palm oil industry in the country as timely engagement that will address the problems between the multinational corporations and local communities where these companies operate. My colleague Abdul Rahman Kamara spoke first to PC Musa of Jawi Chiefdom and later to the spokesman Malin Affected Landowners Association, Honorable Sheka Musa Sama, on how the developed 9 principles during the conference could better be served as a roadmap to addressing the investors' community problems in this interview.
We're going to have waterways, we're going to have toilets, and people are happy. So normally it is about satisfying the paramount chief, or satisfying the local authorities, satisfying the government official that's linking you with the chiefdom people. The people don't have, there's no free, prior, and informed consent. Okay, the people do not know what they are going into. They are made to print document. They are not even told the content of that document, only to find out later that all the land is gone and they are giving what pittance. So what the conference is saying is that there are principles that have to be followed. Okay, you cannot take the land if you have not done due diligence. Okay, if you've not got the support of the landowners, if the local authorities are not involved, you cannot give all the land. There should be some land use mapping. Okay, you must allocate some land for what? Farming and some other economic activities. There are certain lands that are cultural and they have cultural value. You must respect that. But in the situation in Sierra Leone, in other countries where there is a lot of poverty.
It's timely that we have learned a lot of things, that there are areas where to contact when you need, like private sectors, and there are some necessity that you may need. If you don't know this, some that contacts you cannot go through, and that we are now known from now that any contact we should make, it has to go through certain legal areas like Ministry of Agriculture, Finance, local governments, and so on and so forth. And there are some sectors that should be actually contacted first. That is exactly why I'm here. First and foremost, let people know I've come from Freetown on an agricultural meeting leading to oil palm plantation, for which we are better known over the years in Sierra Leone, and particularly in the Eastern Province. And I was really impatient to tell them that these are some of the things that we have begun doing already that is in place, and that we should continue. That is letting people know they are right and get what they want as in return, because they own it. And that no government should only go, or no entity or industrial investment should only come, go to the bush, or go to the chief, or go to the ministers before going to the community and then seek for land. The owners first, then me last, and then the government itself.
The Sierra Leone Water Company has handed over toilet facilities to different councils in Kenema, Bo and Makeni for the use of pupils in different schools. This is aimed at improving the hygiene and sanitation in the country and mitigating the effects of malaria and other waterborne diseases. Here is our traditional reporter Andrew Bestman with the details.
The Sierra Leone Water Company has handed over 183 water dam toilet facilities to the 3 different councils in Kenema, Bo and Bombali districts, aimed at improving hygiene and sanitation in the different schools within the 3 districts. The project is supported by the African Development Bank, estimated at $61 million United States dollars. Addressing stakeholders in Kenema, Bo and Makeni cities, the Director General of the Sierra Leone Water Company, Samuel Bangura, said the handing over of the 3 water dam toilet facilities will help improve the hygiene and sanitation in communities by way of preventing the spread of disease. He observed that sanitation is very poor in the country and needs more attention if the situation is to improve, and encourage the different councils to supervise the smooth running of the facilities, as well as advocating for individual financial contributions for the sustainability of the project.
We have constructed a total of 183 toilets, as you can see. This is just one of them. It has been in use for the past 1 year after construction. Today is just the day we have decided that we come to this location and finally hand it over to the councils, because the design of the project was for us to construct, create committees that will be responsible for their day-to-day running, and thereover hand them over to the councils. So we are grateful to the government of Sierra Leone and the African Development Bank, who provided the funding for this facility to be made available to these school children. Going forward, the council will be responsible for its day-to-day supervision.
The Councillor of Ward 90, Fatimata Tutu Sise of the Makeni Council, and the Deputy Head Teacher of the Seventh-day Adventist Primary School of Bo City, Stephen Mondre Bankole, both of them commended the efforts of the Sierra Leone Water Company for providing pure drinking water and proper toilet facilities for pupils in Kenema, Bo and Makeni. They assured the company that they will use the facility for the intended purpose.
Well, me are happy for this project so Salwalco and Red Cross don't can give it with the municipality. What they don't can build for with the toilets here. This now we duty for one, but since then Soriat organization here don't can do one for we tell them plenty thank you. What they don't do for we. And we they assure them say then toilets they are so what they don't face for we then go there in good order. And we as a council will go take ownership, especially me as a health committee chairperson. I they do the monitoring because I be done they do them since the day when they start the building.
This toilet from the very time they handed over to we as school administration, we called up a CTA meeting. Then in that meeting, the parents decided that they pay 5,000 euros per term per child. But with time we found out that it was difficult to collect that money because we all know the present trend of things in this country. So after that, we have brought that to 10,000 euros per term.
Hygiene and sanitation are very paramount in public health in addressing disease burden, such as malaria, cholera, and other diseases that threats to public health. Andrew Bestman reporting.
As the country prepares to hold its 4th general elections after the civil war, Legal Aid Board Sierra Leone has held an engagement with the United Nations Development Programme and the National Electoral Commission (NEC) on a 2-day capacity building workshop in Freetown. This is aimed at discussing the Public Elections Act to ensure a free, fair and peaceful elections come 2018. Wahida Sise tells us more.
As Sierra Leone is planning to host its multi-tier elections after the civil war, the Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, on Friday, September 29, 2017, organized in Freetown a two-day capacity-building workshop for Legal Aid Board staffs and partners to deliberate and discuss key issues on the Public Elections Act of 2012, bordering on electoral offences, dispute and resolution mechanism. Giving an overview of the program, the Executive Director, Legal Aid Board, Claire Carlton Ansels, said the main aim of the project is to support the Legal Aid Board to provide legal representation, advice and the necessary legal education in addressing electoral disputes. She said as legal officers, they see the need of embarking on programs relating to issues of electoral violence with a view to providing better understanding of the electoral laws of Sierra Leone to the people.
We therefore see the need for embarking on legal education programs, advice on issues of electoral violence, and providing a deeper understanding of the electoral laws of Sierra Leone. This will be useful especially in educating our clients on the Electoral Offences Act of Sierra Leone and methods by which electoral cases and disputes can be mediated very well within the ambits of the law. The aim of us in this project is to support Legal Aid Board to provide legal representation, legal advice, legal education, and ADR on electoral-related violence with regards to the upcoming 2018 elections in Sierra Leone. We are hoping we would definitely have donors or partners, including the UNDP, who would help us nationwide as we target all the political districts of Sierra Leone. Specifically, the objective of our election-related program nationwide has to be to provide free legal representation for citizens in cases of being victims of election-related violence, engage in utilizing electoral alternative dispute resolution in addressing electoral disputes, provide legal representation for citizens, especially women, who may be affected by violence or any criminal issues during elections, provide counseling through its...
The Electoral Commission, NEC, Maksud Jibril Sisei, reiterated the need for people to identify the electoral offences so as to deviate themselves from election violence. He further applauded the Legal Aid Board for organizing a capacity-building workshop to educate the public on the Public Elections Act of 2012 so as to prevent election malpractices and offences.
We also need to study these instruments and the public elections in particular, because there are numerous offences that are being committed ignorantly. People commit offences sometimes not because they want to commit these offences, but because they are ignorant of the law. Threatening, using, for example, secret societies in order to stop other people or intimidating people and scaring them away from the polling stations. These are all election-related malpractices that need to be studied. For us in NEC, just during the 2012 elections, we were having something like over 200 cases in court. And these are just offenses relating to the registration. Today we have over 1,500 suspects. And if we are able to gather enough evidence against those people, we are looking at sending all these people to court, simply because of registration malpractices. It is not yet nomination, it is not yet campaign, it is not even the polls, just registration. We already have 1,500 suspects. So that is why having a training dealing with election offenses for us, it is a very, very laudable venture. We want to thank the Legal Aid Board, and we want to commit ourselves as an election management body that we will cooperate with them. We will give them all the support that they want We'll give them all the knowledge.
The United Nations Development Programme team leader and governance, Annette Nalwoga, reassured the Legal Aid Board for their full support in ensuring conflict prevention and mitigation, maintaining that the project will provide robust support to empower marginalized communities throughout Sierra Leone.
I'd also like to mention that the project is specifically very important for us as UNDP because we feel it's going to make a great impact in terms of conflict prevention and peace resolution, but also mitigation. We are not only supporting the Legal Aid Project, Legal Aid Board, we are also supporting other partners who are basically playing a significant role to contribute to conflict prevention and mitigation during the electoral cycle. We do have this project which is going to run before the elections, during the elections and after the elections, because we do recognize that there are a number of issues that are likely to emerge even after the actual conduct of the elections. So it's important for UNDP to see how these issues can be mitigated before, during and after the elections. And the reason that we are partnering closely with the Legal Aid Board to ensure that these issues are handled in a more professional but also in a more coordinated manner.
Reporting for Star TV News, I am Waida Sasay.
Well, viewers, if you just tuned in, this is our local news bulletin here on Star Television Network on Channel 21. We're broadcasting live from our Media One Center studios in Freetown, Yamama State. But first, as always, the sporting news is part of the bulletin where the proposed solution and recommendations reached by FIFA Task Force in conjunction with all parties have given rise to mixed reactions among all persons, with some describing it as one being stage managed. But our sports correspondent, Hilton John, is all set for today's sporting news. Over to you, Hilton.
Good evening, listeners. For today's sport news, it could be recalled that the FIFA task force set up by FIFA and also CAF given the responsibility to look into the issue about footballing in the country, has ended to the visit to the country to see how best they resettle the anarchy within the football family. My colleague Alison has been following the development of the two-day visit of FIFA, that is the task force, and he put this report together.
For 4 years, the issue surrounding match fixing has been creating enormous tensions, causing verbal altercation and sowing bad seeds that have germinated into a serious battle between two opposing forces. Internal moves to quell the long-drawn impasse have hit hard times, and never once have such moves made any headway. Even when President Nkrumah showed up several times to end the divide, words of solace and peace fell on deaf ears, with the thirst for power killing the game quite rapidly. Getting close to elections, new pressure has flared up, with SLFA Prixie Madam Yuan-Sin and her scribe Chris Kamara caught in the alleged web of corruption. The FA on the other side has given a life ban on 19 officials from operating within the confines of football. Since there is no hope internally, FIFA was summoned to find solution to the Sierra Leonean story of football divide. The appointed task force led by Musa Bility, the president of the Liberian FA, arrived here on Wednesday and had their first meeting on Thursday, breaking some protocols. On Friday, the press was availed the opportunity to listen to the resolution reached after due consultation with Minister of Sport Americano. Among the resolutions is the fact that the executive of Madam Yuan-Sin still remains to be the legal body responsible for all football matters until such time elections are convened. That the FIFA Code of Ethics should be adopted to check the integrity of those wanting to run for the presidency of the FA. That the judiciary body formed in March Congress should conduct the checking. That since the FA says it has evidence as to the match fixing, it should provide them to FIFA for onward investigation. That ban should be imposed on local football betting.
Because there are no two football associations in Sierra Leone, FIFA recognizes only one. The roadmap has been set to deal with all of the outstanding issues and then go to election. While that is going on, we cannot put stop to football. Football will continue to run, and it will continue to run through the Sierra Leone Football Association. The Minister of Sport remains the moral guarantor to this process, and we are very, very, very grateful to him for the support and the effort that he has also put into this. And we hope that all parties will respect this agreement.
But these proposed solutions and recommendations are being received with mixed reactions among all persons, with some describing them as ones being stage managed. Analysts say this is the start of another new upsurge of divide. For Star TV Sport, Ali Kamara reporting.
That was the president or the chairman for the FIFA Task Force, who is the president of the Liberia Football Association, Musa Belete, talking about the two-day visit to Sierra Leone as a way to salvage the problem within football in the country. We hope that football stakeholders within the football family and also executive members in the Sierra Leone Football Association will look for the way forward for football to develop in our country. The National Social Security and Insurance Trust NASIT, well, has begun the inter-community football competition as part of their 15-year celebration. Wherein into this game, we saw a good performance of Brookfields Community, succeeded by goal to nil against Kisi Community at the Siaka Stevens Stadium, and also over the weekend we saw good performance also from Abacha Community, defeated the Giants of Bay. The competition will continue tomorrow at the Siaka Stevens Stadium as NASIT still celebrating 15 years of existence. That's all for sport for today's edition. Back to you, Adam Marcella, in the studio.
Many thanks to you, Hilton. Well, that's all we have in our local news bulletin file for the hour here on Star Television Network on Channel 21. I am Adam Marcella. Thanks for watching. Just stay with us. Keep watching Star TV.